You are watching The Tuna Show. It listens to and discusses Ukrainian contemporary music. I'm Vlad Fasun. Today our guests are the Morphom band.
Куда ты прятал глаза? Ты идешь не спеша, но опоздать нам нельзя. Кто тебя выдумал и кто сломал? Кто эти мелом зарисовал? Голые, смелые на небеса, небеса. Голые, смелые, ну как же так? Белые лебеди. Мы голые, смелые, танцуем так. Белые лебеди, милые, мило летят. Мы голые, смелые, танцуем так. Белые лебеди, ну как же так? Ну как же так? Ну как же Танцуем так, белые лебеди.
Группа Morphom состоит из двух человек и вполне...
The band Morphom is made up of two individuals. It's quite a common practice to invite singers to our show. The first song was performed by lead singer Katya Rohova. But in electronic music, the concept of band is generally losing its definition. It seems that a computer can do anything.
В свое время вообще атрофировалось, то есть, казалось бы, компьютер может все. Вопрос, почему же вы все-таки...
So how did it turn out to be a band and not Roma and Slava, who separately write music and maybe sometimes they do not even meet at workplace?
Иногда встречаются не по работе.
Do you want an honest answer? Of course.
Конечно.
This show is honest.
Это же честное шоу.
Почему оказалась группа?
Why the band? Because it looks boring from the outside when a dude comes on stage. He has lots of everything. He hides himself behind all this. Then the music begins to play. And everyone thinks the music is playing on its own from somewhere. Why music? That's fine and dandy. But when will they start performing live on stage? It's something like that. And if there are two people, is there already a possibility of a conflict in the directing process? Yes, at the very least, it reminds one of the source of the music. This is much more interesting. It would be better to increase the number of musicians. Maybe some trumpet players, trumpeters.
Ну, я думаю, что в качестве трубачей Катя тоже, в общем-то...
I think that Katya is great as a trumpeter, even though she's a fragile girl and sings rather softly and gently. Well, I suggest we listen to something else you would like to do. Three brains were put together for this purpose in the band Morphom. One was invited, and she's very cute. Her name is Katya Rohova. She has her own project called Inaya. And of course, she is accompanied by the regular musicians, Roma and Slava.
Рома и Слава.
Видишь свет, даже когда в небе солнца нет.
You are watching the Tune Show about a music project called Morphom. I would like to know how it turned out that the idea of one person, after all, became a project that needed another member. Another member? This is the moment. Well, that's how the need for a drummer arose. A person who adds an expression that is not programmed while sitting in a recording studio a month or a week before the performance.
Сидя в студии за месяц до выступления или за неделю.
And there was even such small stories about how we performed. There was no drummer. There was such a place, south coast of Kiev. This is a small club, maybe a big club. I don't really know for sure.
Такое место ЮБК, южный берег Киева. И это такой небольшой клуб, может и большой клуб, не знаю.
Я бы даже назвал это.
I would even call it. There is such a thing in Europe known as river bars. And if the South Coast was one of the most important steps for the Morphom band, then that's very cool.
Для проекта Morphom это очень круто.
Ну, это один из первых.
This is one of the first gigs. Then there was Mariana Holovko with us. She's a very famous singer. She's an academic singer, mainly in the jazz and modern opera genres. She also teaches vocals. So, did you dare to call her up, or did she call you?
Да, у нас уже был трек, и мы вот его как бы обыграли лайвом, выступили.
We had a track. We played it live. And Sasha Zverev was there. And it's all from the singers. And somehow, at that moment, I read in Instagram from Vyacheslav Okhrimenko, who was unknown at that time and was in China at that time. Does the Instagram work there? There are no other social networks, but Instagram is not blocked. Instagram doesn't work there, but it worked for me. I didn't have it. It worked, but I needed a program. Ah, I got it. Probably you were in some kind of region of China in which Instagram is blocked. I remember when I was in Shanghai, I was both posting and reading. So? Well, the drummer went like this. Do you need a drummer? Yes. And Sasha Zverev says to me, oh, I know this dude. I certainly looked through Slava's Instagram. I see that he's a funny guy. That's cool.
Instagram Slava, такой, смотри, его веселый парень, слушай, класс.
Funny, is that not enough?
Ну, перформер.
A performer. With Instagram, you cannot hear how skillful he is. As for me, if a person confidently lets people know about himself, and he can afford to travel on tours and contracts abroad, this is also possible. Okay, we need a drummer.
Ну, типа того. И мы...
Did you not want to ask at once? How long should you wait? Yes, we met after this correspondence, about a month later. It was so. You said to me, come to Kiev, we will rehearse. Why do you need that China? Come to Kiev. So I did just that. And in China, what kind of music did you play? I was in China for 3 months, illegally. Can I say that? Yes, but I wonder, is it really possible? It seems to me that it's very difficult to be illegal in China. You cannot just dissolve into the crowd there. Yes, we did a show with girls. It was a dance show. Yes, with girls. So it was. With girls, yes. And in fact, that was the cheerful part of the meeting. And a creative success. How did it happen? If it happened at a rehearsal base, then that's pretty cool. But it would be interesting, of course, to find out how you tried to play in front of the audience. We met. We rarely come to the rehearsal base, relatively speaking, of course. If we prepare very seriously, we roll something new, new sounds, new songs, and new singers. Then there is the rehearsal base. But usually we do everything in the studio, where we spend most of our life on practically a daily basis. We can play there and try it all. We redo songs, play some tunes in a different way, and so on. And I do not remember the first gig in which we played together. Do you remember? The New Year's party. Really? New Year? I also cannot recall for sure. Was it 2016? It was about a year or two ago. A year and a half, maybe. Stop, I forget. Should I remember it? Yes, of course, but I don't. No, not necessarily. There may be more important moments in the project stage that substitute less important ones. It's logical. Maybe it makes sense to talk about some important moments. When you realized that it was a good idea, you say this with 100% confidence, and you decide that this is exactly the way you want to work together to achieve the ultimate goals. It seemed to me almost immediately that it works and that it's cool. We found an interesting technical solution about the connection, how the music sounds, how it is monitored, and who hears it during the performance. It all happens during our setup. Bands can be very demanding. We need to be monitored. The guitar player says, "I can't hear that well. Can we do it louder?" And is such a situation where we definitely need the help and advice of a professional music sound engineer.
To
understand that the audience, meaning the consumer, does not need to feel this inside. It's not that it's not interesting. Maybe it would be interesting, but it's never shown and it's certainly never told. How does it look? The lighting is switched off. The stage is like a ghost town. The curtain is drawn, and everyone is waiting for something awesome to happen. Then all this turns on, rises and lights up. Everybody comes out, makes a boom and blows everything to smithereens. Here, these preparatory stages, for some reason today in music on occasions, are absolutely not interesting. Sometimes they're interesting at the level of global superstars, about whom they make documentaries of one concert. They show how they designed the sound system and dug trenches for cables. We watched how it would be. And there is a team that does this when there are no musicians on the stage. Some such huge project, which gathers 100,000 people at every concert. Needless to say, I think is quite impressive. But this, in some way, might be a rather prosaic life for musicians who are either just starting up or have already reached a certain fairly high level. This is generally hidden from the average listener, according to some statistics. But given this, we have an idea of how to paint using a palette of different colors. We have an idea of how the movie is made. It's pretty boring. It seems that cinema is incredibly melancholy. Nevertheless, it exists after all, and will continue to exist in all its different, beautiful and interesting forms.
Оно довольно скучное, то есть кажется, что со стороны, когда смотришь, что кино это невообразимая тоска. Но оно все-таки есть. Мы знаем, как великие кулинары примерно,
We know what the great cooks do and how they do it successfully, although of course there are many secrets. And we absolutely do not know what happens when musicians prepare for performances, concerts, or they are preparing to record. How much time do they spend searching for the right sound? Why do musicians smash their guitar, or pinch their trumpets, or order a custom-made musical instrument? They are simply seeking to find their own sound. It seems to us that this is a good song. In fact, it's very cool and it sounds good. I feel the refrain. I like it all. And this stage of labor is great. The song is released, though it's practically unknown. This is what I sometimes want to know from the horse's mouth. That is, the reaction of the public, in order to feel your creative pains at such stages.
На таких этапах.
Творческие муки. Интересно. Я хотел сказать, что мы выбрали, когда начинали, вот уже варить эту всю кашу вместе, мы выбрали стратегию.
Creative pains. Interesting. I wanted to say that when we started to make all that stuff, we chose a strategy that would simplify our life in the future. Before that, I'd already played in all kinds of bands. And the problem is how to bring to the stage what you wrote down, to punch it out with a great sound, exactly the way you would want to hear it, as a non-challenged listener standing on the sidelines, so to speak, and keep the risk of failure to a minimum. Our task was to optimize this entire setup. In electronic music, things are a little different, in fact. I cannot explain this right now. It's very difficult, as everything happens there at once. But just try and get the inspiration and ambition to do it. Here we are today, on the air. We did not really need a check. We did not specially argue amongst ourselves, saying, make it quieter and then louder. This was not a topic of debate at all. We did it once. We put it out, and it's all on our conscious. We hear each other and monitor ourselves. We detected this a long time ago. And what goes out on the air or during gigs with great sound is exactly what we want and need. Optimization of musical attempts, as you said.
То есть мы между собой это слышим, и как мы мониторимся, мы решили уже давно, а то, что уходит в эфир или на концерты в большой звук, то, что нам нужно, уходит. То есть как оптимизация музыкальных потуг, как ты говоришь.
Yes, probably this is a completely new stage, but the program will now have another stage. Because instead of a wonderful girl in a spacesuit, a young man will come out. Now there will be a male part of the music show. So let's give it a listen very soon, as it starts in a few seconds.
Музыкального шоу. И давайте послушаем то, с чего она начнется.
I cannot believe, but sometimes you just mind, baby. You think that I'm done, and it seems to be true. I can understand, but sometimes we just cry, baby. I don't wanna be shy. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. Think about yourself. No, think about yourself. Think about yourself. No, think about yourself. You give me the chance to do just crime, baby. You know that I'm bad, and I cannot change this mother of heart. So what else to do? Just why, baby? You stand on my way, and I should not miss. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. I wanna see your body. It's like a second chance. We're standing at the party, but we just cannot dance. Think about yourself. No, think about yourself. Think about yourself. No, think about yourself. Think about yourself. Oh, no. Think about yourself. No, think about yourself. No,
This is the show Tuner, and the Morphom band is in our studio today. We have just heard how organically music sounds with a synergetic combination of female and male vocals in the Russian and English languages. Perhaps there are some other linguistic possibilities that we might find out about in the future. But if you try to imagine how easy, hard or natural, or maybe the opposite, the wits you need to nurture your wits independently.
Легко, сложно, естественно, или наоборот, это какой-то там умысел, который нужно в себе воспитывать.
After all, how difficult can it be for a girl and then a guy to write something in one language or in another? Or does it in some way come naturally? No, it's simply some kind of torture. I sometimes imagine some kind of agony, some chalk on a blackboard that hangs in front of you where you are having breakfast. So you must write a lyrical love song to be sung by a cosmic girl, or let it be a boy with an unusual voice, and then it will become a cool dance tune. Do you put such tasks before yourselves? Is it absurd? Should it not be that way in music at all? Or is the modern producer's idea suggesting such a format for production?
Мальчик с необычным вокалом, и она будет там танцевальная какая-нибудь. Вот таких задач не возникает. Это абсурд, так не должно быть в музыке. Или современная продюсерская идея предполагает постановку такого рода.
While you were speaking, I figured out how to say this. Today things are more complicated. Look, there is no recipe. Otherwise, music would not be interesting. The recipe is simple. Just write music and don't worry, be happy. As the American jazz singer Bobby McFerrin wrote in his hit song, Roma, I'm sorry, I hear so much music now that is made according to recipes. And this music is winning the ears of huge audiences. This is monstrous. For me, it's terrible. I do not like it, but I hear it. Every time you hear something new, we are now talking about how it was planned. I try not to hear it. I just cut it off. We are not talking about Morphom now, about commerce and pop music. We are not speaking about Morphom. I mean that commerce and pop are such things. Someone listens to Pet Shop Boys or the Rolling Stones, and they will say, this is commerce and pop, because they like avant-garde jazz, or they're in the field of neo-symphonic music. And for them, these forms are too simple. They will say, this is pop. The people sat down and said, oh, we need the 120th album of the same stuff to record. And they, of course, are in some way right from their point of view. But still, there should be some kind of spontaneous idea of the musical, the transmission of feelings and their development. A musician needs not only to run and collect ideas and then make them up. Musicians need to somehow develop their own world, so that then everything that they heard was connected with what they came up with, and they felt some emotional explosion or some miracle. And it seems to me that with real music, which can impress, it happens that way.
Получился какой-то эмоциональный взрыв, какое-то чудо. И мне кажется, что музыка, настоящая музыка, которая способна впечатлять,
And when 20 people sat down to brainstorm about marketing, they said, there will be a shot here, there will be a bit here, and here we will insert a piece of country music. This is the end. It is an emasculated musical culture. This is not interesting for someone who considers himself a music lover. Indeed, this is the way the mass market is today. It's hard for people like you to resist it.
Масс-маркет действует таким образом, и этому, наверное, таким людям, как вы, сложно сопротивляться.
See, now we have touched on two topics: how to do something new and pragmatic, to plan and on the basis of your experience, translate it in the right direction. I do not see anything bad, as you say, in applying the chalk on the blackboard method, finding what you need in the Google Calendar, and doing what you have to do and know when to do it. Because, in principle, the more pragmatic a musician you are, the better you see in advance how you do things. But in theory, this adds to your success. We've been playing tracks for 2 years. We've had lots of fun, but nevertheless we must awaken this sensation of inner self to get the first right impression.
В себе пробуждать это ощущение вот первого впечатления, ну то есть и как бы.
Но вы же не стали делать, хотя наверняка можете делать. Там,
шансон.
Площадные хиты, там, тролливали, условно назовем этот жанр так.
But you did not write such pop hits, although I'm sure you can. You still pursue a musical idea, and it's far from simple. You are pretty plastic. You have some guidelines and you act according to them. But you have something very individual, and this can also be felt. There is no feeling that you said, if we write this today, we will get 10th place. Tomorrow our song will be played, and then we will be in 9th place. And if you're lucky, in 5th, 4th or 3rd place. And then the investor will come and we will get 2nd and 1st place. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Инвестор пришел, все в порядке. Не, шучу, конечно. Нет цели такой.
The investor has come. Everything is fine. I'm joking, of course. There is no such goal. Our goal is non-profit music. We have not set a goal of conquering the world. There are no such ambitions. You know, there are people who like collecting post stamps. Why do they do this? Because it's their goal. We have a goal of self-realization, but not getting rich. This is a completely different model of behavior when you want to get to the top of the charts.
Модель поведения, когда ты хочешь в чарты на первое место.
Наверное. А вы не очень хотите в чарт?
Maybe. And don't you want to get there to the top of the charts? It would be awesome. The fact is that I know how to get there. It seems to me that your task is not to get onto the charts or being dragged onto them, and you want to bring it there. Now we have done it, and now we will bring it. Maybe we will not bring it right away. We ourselves think that we should make it onto the charts.
Должно быть такое, чтобы оказаться в чартах. Но мне кажется, что чарты должны вернуть себе, ну не знаю, какое-то все-таки они должны сами вернуть.
But it seems to me that the charts must regain the reputation of worthy music. Because nowadays music is the last thing that I feel in the charts. All that ends up on the charts these days does not make me happy at all. It's not a syndrome of a person who has been listening to music for a long time. I'm very open to musical forms. I like very much different things in modern music. But it seems to me that music hit charts have turned into nothing other than very big business.
Но чарты, мне кажется, просто очень сильно превратились в бизнес.
Тут какая штука. Всегда будет существовать поп-музыка и вот этот массовый потребитель.
There will always be pop music and a mass consumer who does not need to think in order to get into it. In fact, consumers do not even need this. They eat what they're given. They like it and are satisfied with what was given to them. They closely follow these charts on a daily basis because they show ratings. There is such a niche. Those who are experienced like you know that there is something and there is something else. We have our own charts. I would like to talk about the lead singer, about Dima, because he's very special. I apologize that we are talking about him in his absence. He will return to the stage very soon. Where did Dima come from? As far as I understand, Katya has been into music for a long time. She had many projects. What happened to Dima? And why are you so good together? Yes, it's really cool. You're laughing now.
Дима появился.
The way Dima appeared, he made it to the final of the Voice contest.
Голос краины, хочу к Меладзе, вот эти все фабрикантские штуки.
Is he a victim of a talent show? A victim of the talent show. But when he reached the finals, he was freaking out and leaving. I understand that this is something about the signing of some documents. He's very principled in this regard. He has the complex of an honest man. This is not a complex, rather an obsession.
Одержимость такая.
This
is a good feature. You must be able to work with it, so as not to spoil your fate. Dima, about a year and a half ago, we were introduced by the director, our mutual friend, Roma Bezverhi. He said, "This is Dima. He is so cool. Come on, what will you sing there?" And he turned on. Well, awesome. We're all friends. And I'm arranging his track. He writes his material himself.
Аранжировку к его треку, он пишет сам материал, авторский свой материал. После там нескольких попыток Дима мне говорит, ну, не совсем классно, я бы там хотел, и на что я реагирую.
After several attempts, Dima says to me, it's not as cool as I would like. And I say, hey guys, I'm just doing this for you free of charge. Why do you not like it? I cannot remake it all the time. I did not plan to take money from him. Well, do it yourself. And then we did not meet for a year. He lived in Kharkiv at the time. After a year we met. And how? He came to Kiev and told me that he created something. And I understand it. These are our misunderstandings. He was crazy. He bought a computer and learned to do everything on his own within a year. And he brought back with him 6 or more tracks in a year. It was practically a full album of finished tracks.
Сел у бабушки, купил себе компьютер и научился за год все это делать сам. И привез через год 6 готовых, не 6, там больше треков. Ну, фактически альбом готовых треков, которые там...
Do you really think they were finished? I just want to say that the vocals were not recorded and not mixed. It is not clear how it started and how it ends. He brought the finished material, turned it on, and started to sing. I was shocked. Did you do it yourself? He says, yes. Did you learn it in a year? Well, yes. When do you want to release it? I do not know what to do next. I said to him, let's record the vocals. We will master it all, and you will have an album ready for release. When people take such a sharp vector, they simply cannot stop and understand that this is a track that they have finished. You are climbing so fast that you have no time to stop and say, I walked 100 meters, okay? And the next 200 meters go.
Так, я прошел 100 метров, окей, значит, следующие 200 метров идут. То есть Дима, ну, как бы вот он принес таким...
Dima brought such material and did not know what to do with it at that moment. We decided that he will stay in Kiev. He lives on the sofa in a studio. There we have all the amenities and conditions. Before that, he worked as a waiter in Kharkiv. And so he came to Kiev and lived 2 weeks in our studio. We finished his album. We did not sleep at all. During this time, whilst he lived there on the sofa, he managed to earn more money. Different people came to the studio, artists, and he sells the songs.
За это время, пока он там живет на диванчике, он умудряется заработать еще денег, потому что на студию, конечно же, приходят разные люди, артисты, а он сонграйтер, и он
продает песни.
In fact, for these 2 weeks, Dima has got a mini album and some money. Not everyone can do it for 2 weeks. I said to him, wait, do not go to Kharkiv. Look, it's all right. Find yourself a home. Here is a short story about Dima's life. Now he's in Kiev and creating music and selling songs, and we help each other.
В общем, вот такая история краткая Диминой жизни. Сейчас он в Киеве и делает музыку, продает песни, и мы делаем, он помогает.
Прекрасная история.
It's a beautiful story. Moreover, Dima is now not only in Kiev, he is now in the studio. And I propose to listen to how well everything is going in your dynamic duo. Are you okay with that?
When you're laying with me, I need your attention, but I know that you'll never stay. You're the one and only, broke my heart, I'm falling, but you never should say, devil. I thought that was the end of story. You're the one who saved me, knowing that I'm crazy. We just used to be there together. Do you think about me when we touch it? What's the reason you leave? Can you say there is me? Do you listen to me when we talking? You're the reason I leave, so just carry on. and only. Fuck my heart, I'm falling, but you never should say never. I thought it was the end of story. You're the one who saved me, knowing that I'm crazy. We just used to be there together. Do you think about me when we touch it? What's the reason you leave? Can you see there is me? Do you listen to me when we're talking? You're the reason I leave, so just carry on. Just carry on. Just carry on. Just carry on. Carry on, carry on. Just carry on. Just carry on. Just carry on. Carry on, carry on.
You've been watching the Tuna Show about contemporary Ukrainian music. Today our guests were members of the Morphom band.
Меня зовут Влад Фисун. Пока.